It's like, oh, Abel's your guy, eh, God? What if I take him out in the field and beat him to death?
Wear a mask like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it, and he shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen.
I eat extra sharp, that's what I eat.
In contrast, Russian elections are rigged. Political opponents are imprisoned or otherwise eliminated from participating in the electoral process. The result is an absence of checks and balances in Russia and the decision of one man to launch a wholly unjustified and brutal invasion of of Ukraine.
Early in the morning, they went to the table with the black robe, the black shield, and they pulled out the votes.
So notice something. I defended him on his bad joke because I have standards and I have principles.
Dumb people, liberal people can...
Force the vote, sure, was a failure.
All of a sudden, we can't talk about Neanderthal DNA anymore.
And then they have cans of soup. And they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, no, this is soup from my family. They're so innocent. This is soup from my family. It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, no, this is just soup from my family. And then the media says, this is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people. Retweet. That was an opinion of somebody, and that was a retweet. I'll put it out there. People can decide for themselves. I don't take a position.
I have a simple proposition here. I'm here to ask you for your help. Where I come from, you don't get far unless you ask. My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Look me over if you'd like to see help out. If not, vote for the other Biden.
Who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Could you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know. The world is actually a small piece of the universe, right? I went in yesterday and there was a television screen, and I said, this is genius.
But I think the juxtaposition of that and the woman dancing in the shoe with the money flying at her, the juxtaposition of that versus some of the things that we've canceled recently, some of the things we have said are too dangerous to continue while we're talking about WAP, which stands for wet ass pussy, and she's got the bucket and the whole thing.
I am not up to the job. And I mean that sincerely. It's not like, whoa.
They had a very bad original concept. It was carried out poorly, and the cover-up was one of the worst in the history of cover-up. There's some bad deal, should have never been thought of. Somebody really messed up, and they had the worst cover-up ever. And where it should have stopped is at the deal standpoint when they thought about it. Because whoever thought of that idea, I think is in big trouble. No good, really bad for you.
No, seriously, hot sauce. I've been eating a lot of hot sauce, a lot of raw peppers, and hot sauce.
Not good. Believe me, not good. Not good. Believe me, not good. And then they have cans of soup. And they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, no, this is soup for my family. They're so innocent. This is soup for my family. It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force. It's the perfect size. It's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, no, this is just soup for my family. And then the media says, this is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people. And then they have cans of soup.
Dub is a shit fuck, cringe tour, etc., etc.
Hello, users, and welcome to another programmatic program. Today, this is a show. This is called the Above It All live streamed experience. This is the experience of live streaming in the morning and also sometimes in the noon. That's the thing, is how do you, what is noon? As soon as it hits 12 and a second passes, it's already afternoon. So noon is like some ethereal plane of it's it's the mirror world we were talking about on the science portion of the program. I don't know when that was. It was yesterday, day before, 2 weeks ago, I don't know. But when is noon? Is it noon already? Because it's already afternoon. I mean, I started the show at 12, right? But it's already afternoon. I mean, I missed my chance to say good noon, everybody, because it's not the noon anymore. But with that being said, what I can say with extreme confidence is that it is, in fact, the weekend. Yeah! So we got the show here. This is the Sunday show, the Sunday program, the Sunday show. We are a Sunday show. I played a 15-minute intro. Well, sometimes my mornings, sometimes I need a little bit of extra time. I got to start the stream at the same time. Sometimes I'm not finished with a couple of things that I need to finish with. So, don't worry. Anyway, so we got a program here today. We've got a program today for today's show. So we've got that. It's lined up. I must say, we lined it up, and now we're lining up. Drinking some LaCroix. Goddamn LaCroix. And so I just want to say today's show might be a little short. Probably going to be leaving at the end of the hour. So just throwing that out there. It's Sunday. Can we start with a prayer? No. Nope. No. All right, but let's start with some news. All right. So this story, I'm going to be the buzzkill for this story. I'm going to be the motherfucker who says things that we don't need, no one else wants to hear. But I'm going to be the parent in the room. And let's go. 2-year-old orders 31 cheeseburgers after mom leaves phone unlocked. Man, this is like the intersection of like everything I talk about on my show. Like 1, capitalism. 2, like bad parenting. 3, like the ease of access to horrible food. 4, there's a lot more. But anyway, they take this really good photo of the 2-year-old digging the fuck in. But I'm going to be the buzzkill. So I'm sure this kid's having a great day with this photo op. But, let's read here. Let's take a look at this kind of stuff. A Texas mother learned an important lesson about leaving her phone unlocked after her 2-year-old son accidentally ordered 31. Accidentally is putting it lightly, right? Like the kid was like, I wonder how many times I can click the button and the number goes up. Anyway, after her 2-year-old son accidentally ordered 31 McDonald's cheeseburgers from DoorDash. Now, I just want to say, McDonald's, let's be honest.
No good, really bad for you.
So, just throwing that out there. On Monday, Kelsey Golden. Imagine your last name is Golden. Can I change my last name to Golden? That's great. Who works in media marketing for a school, was working on the school's annual yearbook on a computer at home. She was transferring photos from her phone to her computer when her 2-year-old son Barrett started yanking on her phone, she told CNN. Golden explained that her son loves the camera feature on her phone. He likes to look at his reflection, she said, instead of playing games or doing other activities on her phone. But this time, Barrett didn't just stare at his reflection. He starts pressing the screen, swinging it around his arm like a roller coaster, having a good time. Then, Golden received a notification that her DoorDash order was taking longer than usual, which is unusual because although she sometimes ordered DoorDash for her 2 older children's lunches at school, that morning she had packed their lunches. A work colleague furthered the confusion when she told Golden that her children were indeed eating their packed lunches at school. No DoorDash in sight. Right as she said that, I was outside playing with Barrett on the porch. She said a car pulls up, and I was like, what? So I went over to it, and she gets out a giant McDonald's bag and is like, 31 cheeseburgers? Okay, so I just want to say, this poor DoorDash employee, right? This DoorDash employee is thinking like, right, like the people that work at this McDonald's are thinking, right, the DoorDash person is like, I guess they're not employees, right? They're technically just like, they're contracted, like independent contractors or whatever their fucking stupid garbage is. But anyway, so they're all like, and then the parent is like, right? So everyone involved is just utterly confused. At first, Golden said she thought the delivery driver was at the wrong house. Then it dawned on me that Barrett was playing with my phone. She said, I went back and looked at my phone, and an order was placed at the time he was playing on my phone. I thought, oh my gosh, you really did this! The accidental order was even more out of place because, quote, no one in our family likes cheeseburgers, said Golden. So she posted on her town Facebook page offering free cheeseburgers. It kind of blew up from there. One woman came by. She was pregnant and wanted 6 of them. She said, no judgment. She added that she also donated some cheeseburgers to her neighbors. The total order came out to $91.70, in part because Barrett left a really generous 25% tip. There you go. I mean, hey, the kid is doing something right. And also, shout outs to the parent for making the best of a bad situation. She said she had no idea that the mishap would go viral. On Friday, she and Barrett were invited to a meetup with McDonald's staff where her son was able to meet the company's mascots. Oh, Jesus. Golden hopes that her son's fluke order helps brighten people's days. I hope it spreads a little humor in a sad, dark world. So I just want to say, the parent, you know what? I'm in. The parent, that's like the best way to handle this situation. really good job. Okay, so I just want to say, good on the parent. Really cool. But also, I want to extrapolate. I got to be the buzzkill here. I want to extrapolate a little bit. On how this is even possible. So now I will be the first one to admit, when I get really fucking stoned, sometimes I'm gonna buy some Taco Bell, and sometimes, when I'm really fucking high, right, I'm just gonna press the plus button on whatever application. Just gonna press the plus button a couple more times. And then when I'm, viewing the order in the cart, you know what? Just gonna press the plus button a couple more. You know what? I just want to say, I am not immune to the power of this kind of stuff. But as a society, I think the ability to just order garbage food to your doorstep, I think overall this is not so good for our society. I'm just saying, right? And I'm analyzing my own behavior. I'm analyzing, the fact that these things could be accidents, right? But I swear to God, if someone sent meat to my house, I would ban you from the stream forever, and you would no longer. I would put you on a list. I would add your photos to a database. I would never want to deal with you again. Meat is bad for you. But anyway, so, I just think it's a bad idea, right? It's when you're at the grocery store, right? You actually see the food. You actually see, oh my God, how much food is this, right? When you're cooking at home, you'll see, oh, this is a lot of food, right? When you're at the fast food place, you're itself, and you're talking to a real human, right? And you say, yeah, can I get 8 tacos, and can I get 3 nacho trays? Can I get 15 nacho fries? Some people have that secondhand embarrassment, and it prevents them from doing that. But on the apps, right? It's completely our brains are not capable of perceiving how much fucking food that you're getting on these applications. I've read many stories where, it's first of all, just the concept of accidentally ordering something, right? I mean, my opinion is you should never let your kids play on your phone at all. That's my opinion. Kids don't need to be on phones at 2 years old. I'm just saying, they just don't, get them a fucking Game Boy. When I was 2, I was playing fucking Game Boy, okay? There's no internet access, You should not be giving your 2-year-old child unfettered access to the internet. That's a horrible fucking idea. Jesus Christ. That aside, I really do think a lot of these apps are just, I think that they're really fucking bad for society. I really do, right? Because it's also, when I'm really fucking high, right, the idea of walking, because I don't drive, right, so the idea of walking to a Taco Bell or wherever to get junk food, sometimes, when I'm really high, I'll walk over and, do whatever. But with the apps, right, again, it just makes it too easy. It makes bad habits way too easy. I think it's overall a net negative. That's my opinion. And I say this as someone that gets really high a lot and often ends up ordering Taco Bell on DoorDash or whatever equivalent, right? So I say that as someone who is not good at controlling myself sometimes, right? We're talking about maybe once a week, but still, that's more than if I were to walk to get junk food each time, that's more than so I'm just throwing that out there. I think that this is the intersection of a lot of runaway technology. And then we also have to point out that all of these applications like DoorDash, Grubhub, and all these fucking Instacart and all that shit, they treat their workers really bad, right? It's just it's not a good ecosystem. The whole thing is just a really bad fucking ecosystem, right? So I don't know, man. I don't want to be a buzzkill. This kid looks happy, and I think the parent handled the situation really well. She went online and said, hey, there's free food. It's burgers, it's meat. So is it really food? It's more hey, here's some lead paint chips. Here's here's some fucking, like, just melted down crayons, it's food, I guess, right? Like, I don't know, like, you can eat it, so I guess that makes it food. But anyway, I think the parent handled the situation in the best way. But also, like, again, unfettered access to the internet and technology at 2 years old, that in and of itself is going to create addictive patterns. That in and of itself is really horrible idea, right? But then also, again, we've got these apps and stuff, and, like, I don't know about you, but I've read so many stories, like, kids especially, right, don't know the concept of, like, how many, like what they're getting, right? So a kid is just gonna go, like, oh, I want 38 fucking thousand cheeseburgers. Why? Because they love cheeseburgers, right? And, because, and so, like, it creates these extremely unhealthy habits, especially in children, and even in adults. Like, I never had a cell phone until I was 21 years old, and here I am, addicted to my fucking cell phone. Let me check. All right. Let me check. So even adults that get involved in this kind of stuff, it's extremely addictive. And I feel like a lot of phone apps, especially when it comes around food, it's a drug. I mean, what, literally, like, ask yourself, like, you are using your cell phone, sitting at home, you're not moving, right? Like, you haven't moved in, like, 6 hours, let's be honest, other than maybe going to the bathroom, right? You pull out your phone, and then you could just buy a shitload of unhealthy food without really thinking about it, without seeing how much food you're buying. And then, like, next thing you know, right, it's sitting outside your door, and you're going, like, that's a lot of food. Like, this is more, like, I'm eating, like, 60 pounds of beans here. But anyway, man, I don't want to be a buzzkill here too much. But, I don't know. I think this is the intersection of a lot of really bad things. Good on the parent, I think, for making the best of a bad situation. But also, we need to have these conversations as a society and all of this kind of stuff. But I think that this is a total meltdown of how society is functioning. That's my opinion. But anyway, there you go. I don't want to be too much of a buzzkill, so... Food is absolutely a drug. My opinion, food is more addictive than alcohol. Food is typically more abundant than alcohol as well. Right? Like, hey, I've told this story many times, but I was born and raised on fast food and ice cream. Like, my mom would never want to cook dinner because, I was raised by a single parent. So she would, like, exhaust herself at her job. And, like, 3-4 times a week minimum, like, yeah, it was like, half the week, my mom would just bring home, whenever she would come home from work, she would bring home fast food. And sometimes on her days off, she would cook, right? But she would only be off, like, once or twice a week. So, and I still have to deal with those kinds of addictive issues when it comes to food. I mean, hey, again, sometimes when I'm really high, I'm going to order that Taco Bell, and I'm going to get too much food, and I'm not, and I fall into that trap, and, I don't know. It's not so good. But, I don't know, man. Sugar is more addictive than alcohol and meth. I would also say, like, sugary drinks, sodas, juices, that kind of shit. It's really fucking bad for you. Like, I mean, like, I hate to agree with this guy, but I mean, geez.
No good, really bad for you.
Just reading the chat here. Yeah, for me, I don't know if I've got any ADHD or whatever, but I definitely have a lot of, I feel that, like, severe social media addiction, especially because, this is what I do, right? Like, I have built my life around the concept that I use social media every day, and that's what I do, right? So for me, it's a lot more difficult for me to kind of like quit that kind of stuff, because there's always the rationalization, right? Like I go on Twitter to like post a link to one of my videos. I've got Twitter open, might as well scroll through, and then I end up getting in arguments with people, and it's just like the argument is stupid. I'm wasting my time. Now I'm getting upset, and 45 minutes have passed. I'm starting to get hungry, and it's like, I just wasted my whole morning. Now I'm in a bad mood, right? And then throughout the rest of the day, right, I'm gonna look at my phone. Oh, did they say something stupid? Did they reply to me? And it's just like, I would love to sit here and tell you, like, oh yes, I'm the master of my domain, but I am not. Like, I fall for that shit. Knowing the cycles, knowing the loops that I get into, knowing how it's an addiction, knowing everything, I still fall for it. And then when you factor in that most people aren't aware that these are addictions, most people aren't aware, right, that they're falling into these addictive cycles. Like, I would say 90% of people on social media have no idea what they're getting themselves into. You know what I mean? But even when you do know what you're getting into, it's extremely difficult to kind of put it down. So that's, I don't know if that is an ADHD thing. I don't know if it's exclusive to that, but I'm sure that would exacerbate the issue for sure. Me being a healthy person, I have to realize that I'm on live streams too much. I need to balance it out more. For some, I understand if you're disabled. The only live stream you should be watching, I'm just saying what we're all thinking. It's the Above It All live stream, the best broadcast in the history of broads who cast. Anyway. The United States sees risk of COVID supply rationing without more funds. I think one of the quotes in this article is that we're going to have to be planning for dire situation or something. The word dire is used. So let me read this. Here it is in the first sentence. All right. The White House is planning for dire contingencies that could include rationing supplies of vaccines and treatments this fall if Congress does not approve more money for fighting COVID-19. In public comments and private meetings on Capitol Hill, Dr. Ashish Jha, the White House coronavirus coordinator, has painted a dark picture in which the U.S. could be forced to cede many of the advances made against the coronavirus over the last 2 years. Now, I just want to say, what advances? Like, can someone point one advance besides the vaccine? That's what advances? Many of the advances made against the coronavirus? Okay. What? Like, I'm curious. I would love to know what advances they're talking about. Biden administration officials have been warning for weeks that the country has spent nearly all the money on the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan that was dedicated directly to COVID response. A small pool of money remains, and the administration faces critical decisions about how to spend it. Now, I just want to say, Joe Biden is directing states to use COVID surplus, like COVID relief surplus that they still haven't used yet. I guess it's not necessarily surplus, right? But it's earmarked for COVID. And it's just, they're not spending it all at once, right? Because they want to have contingencies. The White House is literally directing those states that have COVID money in the bank to spend that money on cops. So we got a little bit of a mixed messaging here. That means tough decisions, like weighing whether to use it to secure the next generation of vaccines to protect the highest risk populations, or giving priority to a supply of highly effective therapies that dramatically reduce the risks of severe illness and death. That decision may be made in the coming week, according to the administration, as the White House faces imminent deadlines to begin placing orders for vaccines and treatments before other nations jump ahead of the U.S. in accessing supply. Jha has wondered that without more money, vaccines will be harder to come by, tests will be once again be scarce. Reminder, the White House has said you can order 8 more COVID tests. So go get your COVID tests if you haven't gotten the third round. First round was 4, second round was 4, third round is 8. To my understanding. Go get them if you haven't yet. And therapeutics that are helping the country weather the current Omicron-driven surge in cases without a commensurate increase in death could be sold overseas before Americans can access them. Quote, I think we would see a lot of unnecessary loss of life if that were to happen, Josh said in the past week, but we're looking at all the scenarios and planning for all of them. Can we again stop treating COVID like a binary? Oh, either you die or you're perfectly healthy. That never existed. I am not concerned, honestly, for my own health, being triple vaxxed. I am not concerned at all with dying from COVID. Now, maybe I should be. It's possible I could die if I got it. But I'm just letting you know, if I get COVID, I am fucking scared to death of having to deal with neurological disease for the rest of my life, having to deal with muscle issues for the rest of my life, having to deal with sense issues for the rest of my life, not being able to taste food, and so on and so forth. So, oh, yes, I know the death rate is spectacularly low. But guess what? Long COVID, right, has been identified in around 40% of people that catch COVID. They develop long COVID symptoms. So, yeah, am I concerned about dying? A little bit, maybe a little bit, right? You know, I don't want to die after all. But I'm way more concerned with neurological issues. Because I don't know about y'all, I value this fucking thing. This thing here, I want to take good care of that. So that's why I'm staying at home all day, every day. He said the administration was getting much more into the scenario planning business to make sure that we know what may be ahead of us so we can plan for it and obviously also lay those out in front of Congress. Ja, who declined to put a specific projection on the potential loss of life, has become the face of the Biden administration's efforts to persuade Congress to approve an additional $22.5 billion for COVID-19 response. The White House previously said like 100 million cases or something is their estimate if there's no COVID relief. So anyway, I think we're fucked, personally. You can read the rest of this article on the AP News if you'd like. I think we're fucked. That's my opinion. I think we're fucked. And just to be very clear, just to clear up some misconceptions, I don't think that we're going to get fucked in the good dick way. I know we're all craving it. I know it's been a long time. But goddamn, this is not going to be good. And it's preventable. Right? This is all a choice being made by the owners of this country, the billionaire class, the oligarchs that own this country, that bought and paid for every single politician in Congress, except for maybe a handful, 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever. Like, they want this is their decision. The Elon Musks, the Bill Gates, the Jeff Bezoses, this is their decision. They are choosing, you know what? We're going to have widespread mass genocide and eugenicist policies take control of this country. Because that's what they're doing. This is an experiment. They're experimenting. I don't want to sound too much like a crazy person here, but like $22 billion that's not a lot. Like, we just spent more than that on aid for Ukraine, right? Which, in my opinion, is necessary. We should be helping Ukraine defend itself, but also we should be helping our own citizens defend ourselves. Why? What is the advantage? I ask you this. What is the advantage for a politician to not approve of $22 billion for COVID funding? What do they gain from this? What do the rich people who fund all of these politicians, what do they gain from this? Like, what is so we're going to million dead. Let's work on the 2nd million. We're already fast approaching the 2nd million. Let's go. You know, they always say the first million was the hardest, right? That's what they say, right? So what is the benefit of letting COVID run rampant in this country? and kill untold amounts of people and permanently debilitate around like half the people that get it. I can't think of a reason why they would want to do that. But that's what's happening. That's what they're doing. They're all grouping together, the corporations, right? The billionaire class, the oligarchs, and the politicians. They're all grouping together and saying, fuck you to the average person. They're saying, fuck you, I hope you die, I hope you suffer, I hope your family dies, I hope your dog dies. Fuck you. That's what this country is saying to you. And again, the American population, dumb as fuck. I just covered this poll a couple days ago. Only 19% of Americans think COVID is a big problem. Americans are fucking stupid. Americans are fucking dumb. This is a feedback loop of dumb, fuck, shit, fuck, motherfuck. That's what this is. It's a disaster. And nobody gives a fuck. No one cares at all. So anyway, don't want to depress y'all, but that's how I'm feeling today. The majority of people that died were over 65, with the biggest chunk, over 85. The country saved a bundle on Social Security. I mean, there's a reason we have such shitty healthcare in this country, right? They don't want you to make it to 65. Why do you think life expectancy is going down? They don't want you to get to 65. Just saying. I say, live as long as you can for spite. Make it to 65. For no other reason. I know, oh, I'm suicidal. Oh, life's not worth living. Guess what, motherfucker? You know what's worth living? You know you can motivate yourself to live to 65? For spite. Spite that bitch-ass government. Spite those motherfuckers. They're trying their best to make sure you die before you're 65. Fuck them. Fuck them. I'm gonna ride it out. I'm gonna make it. Just to say, fuck you, bitch. Give me my Social Security. I endorse everyone watching my program as much as possible. Personally, I would say if you are gaining something that's tangible from YouTube or any social media, right? Like if you're not fighting, right? You're not like dunking. Oh, what's this guy saying? Dunk. Right? If you're not getting into those fucking cycles of yelling at people for no reason that you don't know and don't care about, and they don't know you or care about you, and why do you even know each other exist? This motherfucker lives 400 miles away from you. What the fuck? Right? So it's like when you're avoiding that to the best of your ability and you're just trying to take out the positives, that's good. Right? Like it's weaponizing a drug for gain. Right? Like it's a success story, right? It's like, you know, so it's being a functional addict. Like, are you still addicted to social media or YouTube or whatever? Sure. Right? But you're gaining something that's tangible. If you're watching news, you're learning about the world, you're updating your model of the universe, right? You're working out your brain, you're staving off dementia by staying informed, by reading, right? Like, that's important. Right? So, and I want to style my show around, like, I'm going to teach people life lessons that I learn. You know, if I learn something cool, I want to share it with the rest of the class. You know what I'm saying? So, there you go. There you go. Y'all, like I said, I'm going to do a little bit of a shorter program today. Just because I've got activities that I want to do today. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the show in about 15 minutes. Ish. But I want to, cover another news story, maybe a movie review. Goddamn science. It's important. All right, Joseph Robinette Biden. He's giving it to us straight, Jack. Biden says monkeypox cases something to be concerned about. President Joe Biden says cases of monkeypox are something that everybody should be concerned about. Okay, monkeypox. All right, let's go. I'm ready. Oh, we're in South Korea. Okay. President Joe Biden said Sunday that recent cases of monkeypox that have been identified in Europe and the United States were something to be concerned about. In his first public comments on the disease, Biden added it is a concern and that if it were to spread, it would be consequential. Monkeypox. Why not? Right? Why not with the monkeypox? Right? Let's get it. Let's go. I'm ready. The president was asked about the disease as he spoke to reporters at Osan Air Base in South Korea, where he visited troops before taking off for Japan to continue his first trip to Asia as president. They haven't told me the level of exposure yet, but it's something that everybody should be concerned about, Biden said. He added that work was underway to determine what vaccine might be effective. Oh, here we go again. We're looping. We're going to give people a vaccine. They're not going to take it. Everyone's going to get it anyway. We're fucked. We're looping. We're on the fucking... We're just, it's like, again, like human behavior is like the solar system, right? We're all looping around the sun, right? The moon is looping around the earth, right? We're all going in circles, and that's human behavior. That's our society, is we go through these circles all the time. We never learn any lessons. We make all the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over again. Well, let's go. I'm ready. Strapping in for another goddamn loop sesh. I'm ready to go. Jake Sullivan, Biden's national security advisor, told reporters abroad that the flight to Tokyo, then the United States has a supply of vaccine that is relevant to treating monkeypox. We have a vaccine available to be deployed for that purpose, he said. Sullivan said Biden was getting regular updates on the outbreak. Monkeypox is rarely identified outside of Africa, but as of Friday, there were 80 confirmed cases worldwide, including at least 2 in the United States and another 50 suspected ones. Now, again, I'm going to be honest. I don't know much about monkeypox right now. Although the disease belongs to the same virus family as smallpox, its symptoms are milder. People usually recover within 2 to 4 weeks without needing to be hospitalized, but the disease occasionally is deadly. So we'll see how this goes. We got monkeypox. We're bracing for impact. I don't know. Personally, if you ask me, I would say I'm more concerned with COVID. But I don't want to get monkeypox either. You know what I mean? So, yep. Ooh, not good. But, like, imagine the kind of person that's going to be like, oh, what about monkeypox? Monkeypox. What are you going to do for monkeypox? As if we're not in the middle of another deadly pandemic. You know what I mean? Like, reporters, how about you ask, reporters, please ask him about COVID. Like, ask him to do something about COVID. Like, this is way more dangerous than monkeypox right now. Now, again, we should be stopping monkeypox. If it, you know, if it needs to be stopped. I don't know how it, you know, transmits. Like, is it airborne? I'm not sure. But, like, also, keep in mind, we're in the middle of, like, a fucking 6th surge of COVID. So, right? I don't know, man. So, anyway, monkeypox. You might be hearing that on the news over the next, you know, whenever. We're too lazy and stupid to learn anything. These folks can throw anything in front of us and we just go, look at that. Look at that. God dang monkeypox. Look at it. Got monkey. Woo woo. God Goddamn seltzer. Am I right, people? Am I right, people? Yeah, I saw the fucking COVID couch was talking about how, like, Ukraine biolabs funded by Bill Gates have produced monkeypox to distract the world from their imperialism. These motherfuckers. Please, just turn them off. Like, just find their fucking off switch and click that shit, man. Factory reset those motherfuckers. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. Some goddamn sirens going on. Can you hear that shit? Is that audible? Jeez. Anyway, let's talk about a movie review. Let's review a film. Are you ready? All right. So the other day, as is typical, I decided to ingest a little bit of a psychoactive substance. And so while I was ingesting this psychoactive substance, and after ingesting the psychoactive substance, I decided to watch a film. I watched The Truman Show the other day. And then, you know, it was pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. So, for those of you that are unfamiliar, you know, this movie is very interesting. I don't know if it's, like, really spoilerable, right? Because they bake in, like, the cool aspects to it. Like, it's just very obviously what the movie's about. So, I don't know how to spoil it. It's just, you know, you watch the movie. So, anyway, so Jim Carrey's, like, he's the guy, he's the main character. His name is Truman or whatever. And so, apparently, he's content, right? So, he's the content, right? He was born, and, like, he was born on this, like, movie-made island that doesn't actually exist. It's like in a giant dome or whatever. And like he lives his life, but everyone else are actors. Like every single other person involved is an actor, but he was born and raised by actors to think that the real world, like, you know, his version of of reality is like all made up, right? So I think that that's super cool. First of all, the concept is super cool, right? It's the simulation theory, right? Where it's like, you know, is it all just made up? Are we put here as a social experiment? Right? I don't know. But anyway, so the movie is Truman kind of slowly realizing, that's weird, right? Oh, that's weird. Oh, that's weird. That's strange. Right? He starts to, like, realize, oh shit, he's being fucked with. Right? And then he's like, you know, secretly, like, coming to terms with the fact that, oh shit, okay, there's a giant conspiracy, right? Every time he tries to test the conspiracy, he tries to go on, like, borders of, like, the world, right? It's on an island, but there is a bridge on the island for some reason. I don't know why there's a bridge on the island. Like, if you think, oh, you design an island to keep this guy trapped here so he doesn't leave, right? Why would you make a bridge? I don't know. But anyway, so there's a bridge. He goes across the bridge, and then, like, cops, like, fucking attack him, and then, like, fucking, you know, whatever, right? Like, he's not, like, no one lets him leave. Like, he tries to go to, like, book a flight somewhere. And they're like, oh, sorry, we can't do that. It's like, what? Like, I just want to go on a plane. Oh, sorry. You know, so he's like, okay, there's something going on here. Right? And one of my favorite parts about this movie that I love is how, like, not only do you watch Truman's experience, right? But then also you watch people watching Truman's experience. So there's a lot of you know, scenes where it's like people in a bar, like, watching the Truman Show. Like, it's 24/7 live stream, right? Like, his life is content. And so I love it. Like, there's the guy in the bathtub who's, like, super into it. He takes, like, 7-hour baths, right? Like, gonna sit down after work and watch Truman Show for 8 hours in my bathtub. Like, that guy, like, he's, you know, shout outs to that guy. Right? So anyway, like it's just, it's a pretty fun movie to watch. It's really hard to like talk about reviewing this movie because it's just like it's an interesting movie, right? Like it's a lot of visual, right? It's a lot of like, it's hard to spoil it in any way. But the climax at the end is that like he realizes he's being fucked with, and he realizes that, okay, I don't know where the cameras are, but I know that people are watching me. I don't know where the cameras are, but I know people are watching me. So he makes like a fake version of himself that falls asleep, right? And then he like somehow like he makes like a secret escape route, and eventually like they lose track of him, right? And then they, he's like sailing on a boat or something, and then he reaches like my favorite, like this part is really good, where like he's on the boat, he's trying to get away out of the bounds of the island or whatever, and then he realizes, wait a second, I hit the wall. Like his boat hits the wall that is like painted as a sky, right? And then, like, okay, so he hits the wall of the universe, right? And then, like, the director of the show or whatever is, like, using a giant loudspeaker to talk to him. He's like, I'm God, I'm your God, or whatever, like, all that kind of stuff. It was pretty fun. It's a good movie. I don't know. Watch it. Check it out. Not, like, I enjoyed it. I liked it. It's, there's not too much to talk about. Like, it's just kind of like you watch the experience. Like he turns against his wife. He realizes his wife was an actor. He realizes his best friend's an actor. That kind of stuff. Early on, like there's like a flashback sequence as well where he like meets another woman before he meets his wife or whatever. And then that woman like tells him that like it's all made up and fake, but like he doesn't quite really know what she's talking about. But all he knows is that he wants to meet her again, right? So, like, she's a character that exists. I like to... one thing I like about this movie is it's similar to Cube in the respect where, like, at the end of the movie, right? Like, he goes through a door in the wall and exits the show set, and then the movie ends, right? It doesn't tell you anything you don't need to know. It stops at the perfect point. There's no epilogue. He opens the door, walks out of the set of the, his life up until that point. He's lived his entire life there, right? And then the movie ends. You don't need to know what happens. Does he go meet the girl or whatever? Who knows? Does he become a celebrity? Who knows? Like, does he become president of the world? Who knows, right? Like, it doesn't matter. The movie ends there and it's perfect. But, like, yeah, the thing about this movie that's so good is that, like, the creeping paranoia of, like, everyone's fucking with me. Like, every other human on Earth is fucking with me. They're fucking with me, right? Like, they're all part of, like, it's all part of the grand master plan to just fuck with you specifically. And I think it's cool. I'm into it. It's a good movie. I would check it out if it sounds interesting. And again, it's like, it's not really spoilable, right? Because like the point of the movie is kind of baked in, right? At the start, they point like so it's really hard to spoil it. But yeah, I know it's pretty good. I rate it as a solid, not bad. And there you go. That's all I got. The goddamn True Man Show. The goddamn True Man Show? Simulation theory. Personally, how do I know that I'm not in a simulation? I really do want to watch Ex Machina. That's on my list. Endless Sunshine. I'll have to check it out. Yes, my birthday is May 31st, y'all. And so, if you want to help me out, reminder, I am losing my health insurance, so my monthly bills are about to skyrocket. Probably an increase of 50% on my monthly expenses. So I'm fucked, and not in the good dick way. So if you want to help celebrate my birthday, you can give me money on PayPal, Cash App, or Patreon. I have a Venmo, but I can't use Venmo for anything. So like giving me money on Venmo would be a waste of everything because I don't I don't have it linked to anything, and my account is frozen in a way, and I'm not going to bother fixing it. So, but you know, I don't like. I've got news for y'all. Hold the phone here. I know that this is a crazy concept. Okay, check this out. If you don't like fees, if you don't like, you know, like let's say you don't live in the United States or whatever, and you don't like fees, there's this cool thing. You may have heard of it. It's called cryptocurrency, right? If you want to give me money in cryptocurrency, you can do so. It's an option. I'm just saying, right? If you don't like fees, you know, it's international, right? So you have to deal with banking problems. Hey, I'm just saying cryptocurrency exists. I'm just saying look into it. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. Personally, I like Cash App the most out of all of those platforms. It's the most easily usable for me in my daily life. So there you go. But, you know, it's all optional. The show is free. It's a free show. It's free. The only thing you have to give me is an hour of your day. Or 2. Sometimes 2.5. That's it. That's the only cost. It's the only cost. You just give me your time. Hey, you can even like watch the VOD on 2x speed and then boom, it's half an hour. You're optimizing your optical viewing experience. I don't know why Mila deals with fees. I'm not sure, because I know that the United States typically, if you're sending someone money from, I guess it's like a credit card thing, because yeah, credit cards have problems like that. But yeah, how much are fees on PayPal to receive money? It depends on your location. It depends, like it's their fee structure is ridiculous, right? Like if you give me $1, I'll get like half of the dollar, right? Like the fee is like 50%. If you give me $10, the fee is like, you know, I don't know, like 5% or something, right? Like it's really strange. I don't quite know. It's and then also if it's like international, if there's like a currency trade or conversion or something, then they add stuff. I don't know. I have no idea. So YouTube takes 30% on everything. Well, if you would give me $100, it would still be 5%, Gary. Like if you give me $100, typically I would get like 95 or something. I gotta do that YouTube membership bullshit. For sure. But yeah, Patreon. I like Patreon, 1, because it's relatively consistent. Unless I piss off some of my viewers and then they rage quit my Patreon, which happens often. But like, one day maybe I'll provide something on Patreon that's like a service that's worth. But don't expect anything. If like you're giving me money on Patreon, expect that you will get nothing. So, I don't know. I just prefer giving away everything for free. To me, I don't like the idea of gatekeeping. I don't like the idea of, oh, I can't afford this. So, you know, there you go. Yeah, I'll do a fucking membership bullshit. Just got here, what's up? I'm about to stop the show. So you got here at the worst possible time. Well, I guess the worst possible time would be like as the outro is playing. But like you got here almost at the worst possible time. So unless someone else, like you might be like relative to all the other people watching, you know what I mean? Like you might have gotten here at the worst possible. It's possible someone else will pop in, right? At a worse time. But as of right now, John Ross, I don't know what to do. PayPal charges $10 to the person sending money when they use a credit card. I'm sure there has to be a way to avoid that, like without like linking your bank account, which is like bullfuck. When I gotta do like more merchandise, right? Like you can just buy merchandise, and that's how I get money. Don't worry, y'all. I got lots of stuff I'm working on. If you want to give me money, give me a couple more months, and I'll have a way for you to give me money. Don't worry. I'm working on something. Got secrets. Y'all don't even know the depths of my insanity. Y'all have no idea what's going on in this god. You have no clue. You have no clue. You couldn't possibly have a clue. It's just impossible. Why? Because I haven't given you a clue. So, how could you have a clue when I've given you no clues? It's that simple. Anyway, y'all, I gotta enter the urination station. I have missed my appointment for the urination station, and I am suffering from consequences of that decision. And so, thank you all for watching. I will see y'all tomorrow. Have a good day.
I am not up to the job. And I mean that sincerely. It's not like, whoa.
In case you don't know, and you haven't seen the latest polls, the American people hold the President of the United States in contempt.
Joe Brandon, I agree.
Dub is a shit fuck, you know, cringe tour, etc., etc.
Early in the morning, they went to the table with the black robe, the black shield, and they pulled out the votes. Those votes.
$7 million for reef fish management, $25 million to combat Asian carp, $2.5 million to count the number of amberjack fish in the Gulf of Mexico.
I don't wear masks like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it. He shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen.
Dumb people, liberal people.
Everybody comes in, your grandmother, your father, your mother. Everybody comes in, your grandmother.
I mean, the fossil fuel industry, they weigh in so significantly. I mean, how could it be